Okay, so get this. We're going to be diving into some seriously cool health tech today. We're talking about predicting health issues just by listening to someone walk.
Yeah, sounds crazy, right?
That does sound pretty wild,
Yeah.
but it's all thanks to AI and this company called MyCare.
They're doing some really interesting things, especially with, using AI for senior care. And the best part is it all happens right at home.
Yeah, and get this, their system. It's called MyGate, and it uses, get this, footstep sounds to do it. Not, your typical heart rate or sleep tracking. It's
Yeah.
literally footsteps.
It's one of those things that when you hear it, you think, huh, that makes sense. I mean, how we walk, our gait, it changes over time, right?
Oh yeah.
Age is obviously a big factor, but also, underlying health conditions can have an impact, even how our brains are functioning. Think about it. You've probably noticed those subtle changes in, say, your grandparents' walk as they've gotten older.
Yeah, definitely. My grandfather, he's like a pro at navigating around furniture now because his stride just isn't what it used to be.
Exactly. But how do you even capture that kind of data, especially like at home? Are we talking sensors everywhere?
That's the cool part, no? MyCare's approach is really clever. They have this home hub called the Me Cube,
Okay.
and it's kind of like a central listening post. No wearables, no cameras, nothing intrusive.
Oh,
It
wow.
just picks up on the sound of footsteps, and it
Mm.
takes that sound and feeds it into their AI model. Pretty neat.
So you're saying the floor is basically like this giant health sensor. That's kind of wild.
It is pretty wild. But how does the AI, like, how does it make sense of just sounds? What's it actually listening for in those footsteps?
It's picking up on these super subtle details within the sound itself, like how often your feet hit the ground, the length of each step, even things like the force of each footfall. And the key here is that it's not just guessing. This AI has been trained on mountains of real-world data, to learn how to recognize these patterns that we humans, we just completely miss.
That is some next level stuff. It's not just me who thinks so. I mean, MyCare, they actually got a patent for this technology, patent number GB2607561 for anyone who wants to, look it up. Speaking of which, this whole listening in thing,
Yeah.
is that all happening online in the cloud or?
Here's where this is the really impressive part from the tech angle. They're using what's called edge computing. So basically, the MyCube itself, it's smart enough to do a lot of the analysis right there on the device. It doesn't need to be constantly sending data to the cloud, which is, that's great for privacy.
Right.
And it also means that it can alert caregivers to potential issues much, much faster.
Okay, so we've got the how down, but the real question is, what is MyGate actually telling us about someone's health? How does it translate those footstep secrets into something caregivers can actually use?
Okay, so let's take a simple example. Cadence.
Okay.
That's basically how many steps someone takes per minute. Seems pretty basic, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually a really powerful indicator of things like fall risk, frailty, even potential cognitive decline.
Wait, are you telling me that how fast you walk, that can be a sign of something like dementia?
Yeah, you got it. There's actually a growing body of research linking changes in gait to cognitive function. Of course, it's not a diagnosis on its own, but it's a really valuable piece of the puzzle, especially when you consider how early those gait changes can show up. And that's where MyCare's technology comes in. It can catch those subtle shifts before they might even be noticeable, just by looking at someone.
Wow, that is really fascinating. But how accurate is this stuff in the real world? I mean, are we talking like doctor's diagnosis level here, or is it more of an early warning?
That's a really important question. And to be honest, it's important to remember that, this is still a developing field, but, MyCare is not just like, throwing something out there and hoping it sticks. They've got some really rigorous research backing them up.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah, they've actually published, get this, 4 peer-reviewed papers specifically on using audio to analyze gait.
4 papers. Wow. Okay, so they're taking the science seriously. But you mentioned earlier this idea of empowering caregivers, not replacing them. How does that actually work in practice?
Well, think about it this way. Constantly monitoring for these tiny changes in someone's walk, that would be exhausting for anyone.
Oh, yeah, for
Right.
sure.
So MyCare takes that burden off caregivers, which frees them up for, the things that really matter, the things that, frankly, only humans can do. Spending quality time with their loved ones, having actual conversations,
Yeah.
just being present.
It's like they're giving superpowers to the caregivers too,
Yeah.
more time and the information they need to actually do something with it.
Exactly. And those early warnings we talked about, those are crucial. Let's say, for example, my gait picks up on a change in gait that could point to, oh, I don't know, an increased fall risk. Or maybe it's those really, really subtle signs of cognitive decline. It can immediately alert the caregiver, and now they can step in proactively, maybe even prevent a fall from happening in the first place, or get ahead of those cognitive changes before they become more serious. We're talking about potentially avoiding hospital visits altogether, just improving someone's quality of life overall. The impact is huge.
Yeah, that's really powerful. So it's not just about, passively collecting data in the background.
Mhm.
It's about turning that data into something that actually leads to better care and maybe even preventing much bigger issues down the road. That's huge, especially, for the seniors' peace of mind, but also for their families, right?
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. This idea of what you called earlier, this ambient healthcare, it's a real game changer. And as AI gets even more sophisticated, which it will, the possibilities are just, who knows what we'll be able to do. We're on the verge of a real healthcare revolution here, one that's less about reacting to illness and a lot more about getting ahead of it, preventing it in the first place.
Okay, I am now fully, officially picturing the future. And it's got AI listening to our footsteps, maybe even our coughs. Who knows what else? It's a little bit sci-fi, but in a good way.
It is a bit sci-fi, and it's exciting, but it also makes you think, right, what else are we overlooking? What other everyday sounds could be hiding these really important clues about our health?
It really is amazing when you think about it. All these things, these sounds we just completely tune out. Like, who knew our footsteps were practically spilling the tea about our health?
Right. It's like
Yeah.
we needed AI to step in and be like, hey, they're trying to tell you something.
Exactly. And it makes you realize, like, there's so much data out there that we just take for granted. We're only just starting to uncover what AI can really do with it.
And my care is such a cool example of that.
Yeah.
Taking something we totally ignore, those everyday sounds, and turning it into this incredibly powerful tool.
It really is. It just shows, it's a good reminder for us to kind of keep our minds open. That next big breakthrough could come from the most unexpected place.
Absolutely.
So for our listeners out there, hopefully you're feeling as mind blown by this as I am. It seems like we're on the brink of a whole new era of healthcare, one where technology can spot these potential problems, these health issues, before they even really become
I
problems.
think so. And that's what's so exciting about it. It's not just about algorithms and sensors and all that. It's about how we use this stuff to actually help people, help them live longer, healthier, just better lives.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So to everyone listening out there, keep your ears open, but even more importantly, keep your minds open. Who knows what other everyday sounds could be holding the key to our health? That's something to think about. And thanks for taking this deep dive with us.